Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So before I start this video, I want to be very clear, this is not clickbait. I found this out from the YouTube channel Podcast Now, and I'll leave a link to the video in the description below so you can check that out if you don't believe me. But essentially, we've gotten the ESRB rating, or however you say it, and it's up on Twitter. Apparently, I don't have Twitter, so I can't look at Twitter. But Alex showed this post, and I thought it was very interesting about the rating, why it's rated the way it is, and I wanted to discuss it. And there's one thing he brings up, and I'd like to add my own thoughts to it, and it's about the possibility of the dark room returning. There's also a few other things I'd like to discuss, but I think the dark room possibly returning is the most important. That's what this video is. So the rating summary is, this is an adventure game in which players assume the role of a time-jumping photographer, Max Caulfield, attempting to prevent a murder. From a third-person perspective, players explore locations around a college campus while interacting with characters. As players progress through the storyline, they are presented with dialogue and action choices. Some choices cause characters to engage in acts of violence. Example, a character shooting someone in the shoulder. Blood is depicted on one character's clothes and on the ground after a shooting. The game contains some suggestive material, black and white photos of female characters fully clothed, lying in vulnerable positions, two characters playing smash or pass dialogue referencing sex, e.g. a high ratio of effable faculty. Did you get laid even once? During the course of the game, some characters are seen smoking marijuana. The word F, shit, and a-hole appears in the game. Now, when Alex from Podcast Now was discussing the dark room, this scene right here immediately popped into my head. As we see in the game, the camera that Max will be using is a digital camera. She no longer uses Polaroid cameras. And I have a theory that the reason she doesn't is because she can only time travel to the past with Polaroid pictures rather than digital. But then you can make the argument in Life is Strange 2, we see Polaroid pictures that Max took, and then there's a photo of Max and Chloe, but that's not a Polaroid picture. But regardless of whatever that is, this room is not Max's, I don't think. And as the description read, the game contains some suggestive material, black and white photos of female characters fully clothed, lying in vulnerable positions. Now, this brings to mind two potential theories. The first is that this could be Jefferson. Somehow he escaped prison, or possibly maybe he's got his own power. Because as we know, he had this weird obsession with Max. Out of everyone at Blackwell, he considered her his favorite. Or this could be an apprentice of Jefferson, as in episode 2, when Kate's talking to Jefferson, and then Max talks to Jefferson afterwards, he stops the conversation because he's got a call, and on it he says, "I can't talk right now." And don't nod, I checked before doing this, still hasn't said who that person is Jefferson was talking to. Could this be an apprentice of his, like someone he was actually teaching? Because we know the reason like Rachel died because Nathan screwed up big time. He overdosed her, and Jefferson realized, I can't tutor him in my work now, I got to get rid of him. So who's to say, because I've also made a theory, Jefferson wanted Max to go to San Francisco, who's to say he didn't have another dark room over there? Or here's another idea, potentially this is someone that was a fan of Jefferson, and because, let's face it, depending on what ending you get, Jefferson's going to get caught out. We know he survives the storm because he's in the bunker. He gets caught taking pictures of Victoria by David and two officers. And if Max lets Chloe die, then Nathan gets arrested, he confesses everything, most likely to get a plea deal, and Jefferson gets arrested. So he's alive in both timelines. So who's to say that perhaps someone, a fan of his, discovered his works and became a sick fanatic, and learned and maybe found a folder, because we know in the dark room there's a folder of Victoria, but it's empty. Who's to say he didn't discover that there's a folder that has Max's name on it? This psychopath does research to figure out who Max is, and decides to come after her and just do what Jefferson couldn't. well, I mean, technically he did in episode 5, but you know, time travel, you undo all that, it only happened to Max, it didn't happen in the current timeline, like, you know what I mean. Or, which I hope is the best case scenario that we can hope if this dark room is real, it's just Max having an episode, the PTSD episode. Because we know when she takes a picture of an owl in the trailer, she passes out, and you hear her scream the words, "I caused this, I caused all of this." And that's the line she says in episode 5, after you get through that nightmare scenario. And that could also be another factor. Maybe Max using her powers, towards the end of the game, we're going to get another nightmare scenario. Max is going to be shifting between different realities. If any of you have seen the comic on my channel or read it yourselves, you know that the first volume, Max is unconsciously shifting between timelines. Who's to say that when this happens, she doesn't end up shifting back into the dark room? And who knows, maybe like some sick twist of fate, Max finds herself there, but she's in her younger body, and she's shifting, like, not just timelines, but she's shifting back and forth through time. So she's going to alternate universes, but her time travel power is kicking in, sending her into the past. So if I had to pick out of those options, I'd rather it be Max having a PTSD episode. Like, that's the best of those options. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's discuss the other things that the rating summary says. So as it says, there's going to be shooting. Blood is depicted on one character's clothes and on the ground after a shooting. That's clearly Sophie. Then we have someone shot in the arm. Character shooting someone in the shoulder, to be specific. Now, I think this scene will happen here with the detective. And while it's only a split second, this scene does tell us that Max has clearly taken something, whether it belongs to him, or maybe she took it from a crime scene, or it was in that freaky dark room I mentioned earlier. And maybe she's taken it and the detective saw like what was on this laptop, which Max and Moses saw. Maybe, as I said before, the rating mentions black and white photos, so who's to say that those creepy photos aren't on there, and this guy's like, alright, she's definitely up to something. And while he doesn't have proof for Sophie's murder, he has proof that in his mind, Max has done these terrible things to these girls, and he goes to arrest her. And who knows, maybe, as I mentioned before, like, Jefferson might have a sick fan out who is trying to, like a copycat basically, and this detective could think, oh my god, she's whacked, she's following in his footsteps, this is not good, I have to bring her in. And Moses could maybe, I think what could happen is he's going to tackle the detective, there's going to be a struggle, and he ends up getting shot in the shoulder. Because we also see there's another shot, and we see Max here with a hockey stick, and she's holding up against someone, or maybe it's Life is Strange, like in Life is Strange 2, when that, I think it was a cougar, eats Daniel's puppy, and then he loses his shit, and you can let him kill it. But I think maybe, and we also see with Moses, his shoulder is behind Max's head, so maybe he's being shot and it's not showing us. Then again, we don't see much blood, he doesn't look in pain. The only one here in pain is Max, as we see her nose bleeding. So maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I'd point that out as well. Now let's move away to something a bit more light-hearted, and I think will be a funny and memorable scene in the game. Two characters playing smash or pass, dialogue referencing sex, example, a high ratio of effable faculty. Did you get laid even once? During the course of the game, some characters are seen smoking marijuana. The words F, shit, and a-hole appear in the game. And I think this actually reminds me of Telltale's The Walking Dead, the final season. Clementine will get to play a game with the other characters, marry F, kill. And there's funny dialogue. You can even say you do it to one of the guys there, and he's not a romance option, but it's just funny to see his face when Clementine says it. But I think that this could also be interesting, because this has actually got me thinking about Warren, because aside from Chloe, you know, Warren is a romance option for Max. The only difference is that it doesn't follow through. You know, if you sacrifice Arcadia Bay, Warren dies in the diner with Joyce and Frank. But if he's alive, then the events, we know, Chloe dies, so the events of the game like don't happen at all if you activate the fire alarm. So I can see Warren, because you see when Max is crying at the funeral, he keeps looking over at her. I think that in this moment he would be like, okay, no, Max is sad, I'm not going to keep asking her to go to the drive-in. And this could actually be good for people who like Warren. If it's an option, did you get laid even once? And maybe that could reference Warren at some point. Or maybe we can get the option to say, no, if Max isn't with Chloe, then if he like, no, I'm a virgin. Or it could be, yeah, I have, and it could mention Warren, or just create new dialogue about a random person. Because the only out of all the characters, I believe Sean is the only one who is like you have the option to play and have him not be a virgin, because I know he sleeps with Cassidy. I blundered that when I played it years ago, because I was honest. I was like, damn, I should have lied, but there's no rewind. I should have loaded the last checkpoint. But I think that'd be good for people who are fans of Warren. Maybe after a while, Max and Warren did get together, and perhaps things didn't work out, or they just went to different paths. They had different goals in life, and they went their separate ways amicably. Even that dialogue where where it's with Chloe, if she's dead, we were best friends, or we were high school sweethearts. We could have something like that, possibly. I think that'd be interesting, and that'd be a nice little fan service to all the Warren and Max shippers. It could also serve the smash and pass game. That could also be if you're playing the game with like one or both of the romance options. You could be, yeah, I'd smash Moses or smash Amanda, because there's that funny dialogue where Max picks up the nerdy and dirty mug, and she looks at Moses and says, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. And Moses is like thinking for a moment. He's like, wait, it's like in my mind he's like thinking, you're not that nerdy, and he's like, holy shit, wait, did she mean the other thing? And so I think there'd be funny moments like that in the Smash or Pass game. And as for the last part, where it mentions some characters are smoking marijuana, who's to say that we don't get the option to have Max smoke it? Because the rating for this game, where I am in Australia, it's on Steam, it's R18. And it says the reason it's R18 is interactive drug use. And so I think that could be an option, and that could even bring up interesting dialogue. If Max is with Chloe, maybe to help get through sacrificing Arcadia Bay, or even sacrificing Chloe, Max could start smoking a joint. Because you gotta admit, like, whatever your choice is, Max is gonna have severe PTSD. It's no wonder she doesn't want to talk about what happened, about where she's from. Like Sophie, Moses, I assume that everyone only knows a bit about her, and they don't know she's from Arcadia Bay, except for that reporter or journalist, whoever she is, Loretta Rice. Maybe after Sophie's death, she's able to dig up information about that and threatens to air Max's dirty laundry, as she'll probably say. It could even be brought up in the dialogue option. Someone goes to smoke marijuana, maybe Amanda, and she offers it to Max. And if you take it, then she could bring up, have you ever smoked a joint before? And Max would be like, yeah, I used to do some with my friend or girlfriend, or I figured it out how to do it by myself. Or you could be like, no, I've never done it. And we could get some funny interactions of how Max knows how to smoke joint versus her first time doing it. There's a little slight variation to the choices we make. But that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. As I mentioned in my post, there's still some stuff going on with my family. I'll be back to regular posting in 2 days, so 48 hours, hopefully. But I just wanted to make this video to explain this, and I do hope you all enjoyed it. Enjoyed my little theories and speculations and whatnot. And please let me know in the comments below what you think about this. I would very much like to know. And I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.